Terrifying archaeological discoveries. Inside the Titanic wreck that shocked scientists. Nearly 80 years after vanishing without a trace beneath the cold, deep ocean, the wreckage of the Titanic, a symbol of tragedy and human pride, was dramatically discovered in 1985. This event not only sparked a wave of global interest, but also opened the door to a series of mysteries and unanswered questions. And do you know what? What scientists found inside that sunken ship wasn't just a piece of history, it was an entirely different world, a treasure trove of discoveries that sent chills down the spine. Imagine diving nearly 10,000 feet below the water's surface, where light cannot reach, only eternal darkness and the silent remains of the past. That's where the Titanic has rested for decades. When it was discovered, the archaeological team led by oceanographer Robert Ballard found the shipwreck decomposing on the floor of the North Atlantic, about 350 miles off the coast of Newfoundland, Canada. Since then, although many ideas have been proposed to salvage the Titanic, most have been impossible to carry out due to financial, legal, and above all, ethical obstacles. Because this is not just a shipwreck, but also the final resting place of over 1,500 souls who perished with the ship on the fateful night of April 15, 1912. For over a century, only about 300 bodies have been recovered, and most of the rest remain forever trapped in the heart of the ocean. For many, the Titanic is not just a monument, but a sacred tomb that must be respected. Even efforts to recover artifacts, such as the 2020 plan to recover the ship's radio equipment by RMS Titanic Inc., have faced fierce opposition. Some argue that disturbing the ship is an invasion of the resting place of the dead. Filmmaker James Cameron, who has dived to the site more than 30 times, has claimed that he has never seen any bodies, but for the descendants of the victims, this doesn't change the sacred significance of the ship. Ironically, while humans debate the fate of the Titanic, time and nature silently do their work. The ship, made of thousands of steel plates and millions of rivets, a marvel of engineering for its time, is now slowly decaying due to the iron-eating bacteria Halomonas titanicae. This bacterium thrives in the salty, cold depths, creating structures known as rusticles, fragile iron formations that are weak enough to turn to dust. The captain's cabin, once a symbol of the Titanic film, is now nothing more than an unrecognizable heap of rubble. Time not only erases memories, but is truly eating away at a part of human history. Yet, amid the death and decay, a miracle occurred. In 1996, a strange sonar signal appeared near the Titanic wreck. It was called the ghostly light streak, a mystery that puzzled scientists for over 20 years. Then, in the summer of 2020, this mystery was finally solved. It wasn't something supernatural, but rather a completely new abyssal ecosystem, a strange living world, silently reborn from the deadly ocean depths. About 25 miles from where the Titanic rests, at a depth of nearly 10,000 feet, lies a vast ecological zone, where thousands of strange creatures like sponges, corals, fish, and shrimp thrive in the harshest conditions on the planet. No one could have expected that from a place that witnessed one of the most catastrophic tragedies in human history, a biological paradise full of mystery and difference could emerge. Scientists are now collecting DNA samples from the organisms in the area to study, hoping to uncover more about evolution, survival, and the diversity of life in the deepest parts of the planet. You see, the Titanic is not just a sunken ship, it's a symbol of pride, tragedy, respect for the deceased, and more, a reminder that even in death, life always finds a way to be reborn. But the story of the Titanic is just the tip of the iceberg. Over the past decades, archaeologists have made countless other shocking discoveries, from forgotten ancient cities and mysterious tombs to eerie findings deep beneath the Earth's surface. And if you think the Titanic has already given you goosebumps, then get ready, because in the next part, we'll continue our journey to explore more archaeological mysteries that have stunned the world. Are you ready? If so, let's begin with our first discovery. Three 500-year-old male and female skeletons holding hands. Do you believe in love that transcends time? Not modern romantic stories, but love from 3,500 years ago, buried deep in the earth, yet still holding hands as if they had never been apart. Recently, a touching and mysterious archaeological discovery in Siberia has stunned the world. In the village of Stary Tartus, located in cold Siberia, Russian scientists discovered two skeletons, one male and one female, buried in a position where they were facing each other, hands tightly clasped as though making a promise never to be separated. This love story from the Bronze Age, over 3 millennia ago, has come to life through every bone and sacred burial position. But this is not just an ancient love story. This discovery raises many haunting questions, urging archaeologists to uncover the truth behind it. Is this the first trace of the nuclear family model, where parents and children existed together in a closed social structure? Or was this a form of gruesome sacrifice, where the wife was killed after her husband's death to rest together in the eternal afterlife? According to Professor Vyacheslav Molodin, the director of research at the Institute of Archaeology and Ethnology in Siberia, this burial practice opens up many hypotheses. If the grave contained adults and children, it would make sense that they were related, perhaps a father and son, mother and child, or even an aunt and nephew. But when two adults are buried together, holding hands in such an affectionate way, the theories become much more complicated. Could this be proof of a society where romantic love was highly valued? Or a ritualistic social custom where death wasn't just an end, but a sacred bond? In addition to this special couple, archaeologists have also discovered other graves in the area with similar cases, children buried with adults. This further strengthens the hypothesis of an ancient family structure and has led scientists to hope that DNA analysis could reveal whether the individuals buried next to each other were indeed family. A genetic study could paint a picture of society during the Bronze Age, a time where how people loved, lived, and died may have been completely different from what we know today. Although there is no final conclusion yet, the story of this 3,500-year-old couple has touched millions of hearts. It reminds us that love, no matter the time period, is still the strongest force that connects humans. Whether in war, ancient times, or the freezing cold of Siberia, humans always find ways to be close to each other in their final moments. The oldest pyramid in the world, the Bosnian. When we think of ancient wonders, we immediately think of the pyramids of Giza in Egypt, a mysterious and monumental symbol of ancient civilization. But did you know there is another pyramid, less known, yet causing a stir in the global scientific community? It's the Bosnian Pyramid, a structure hidden beneath layers of soil and vegetation in the town of Visoko, Bosnia and Herzegovina. For years, locals thought it was just a regular hill and referred to it as the Visoko Hill. It wasn't until 2005 that a surprising discovery uncovered the truth. This hill was actually a massive pyramid-like structure, seemingly built by an ancient civilization, potentially the oldest civilization known to humanity. And in 2012, two Italian archaeologists, Dr. Riccardo Brett and Niccolo Bisconti, shocked the world when they discovered a piece of organic material deep within the structure of this pyramid. After conducting radiocarbon dating, the material was found to be 25,000 years old. Just think about that. 13,000 years before the rise of Sumer and Babylon, civilizations once considered the cradle of human civilization. This not only raises a huge question about the history of humanity, but also threatens to completely overturn what we thought we knew about the past. When the Bosnian pyramid was first discovered, researchers could only measure the age of the soil covering the structure, which was estimated to be around 12,000 years old. While that was already a shocking find, the 25,000-year-old material inside takes the story to a whole new level. Could it be that we once had an advanced, intelligent civilization, perhaps even surpassing what we have today, but it was wiped out by a catastrophe never recorded in history? However, like all groundbreaking discoveries, the Bosnian pyramid has faced its fair share of skepticism. Geologist Robert Schoch from Boston University, who spent 10 days surveying the site, believes this is simply a natural geological formation, not a product of human hands. Similarly, archaeologist Paul Heinrich from Louisiana State University argues that this type of terrain is quite common, and in the US, it is called a flatiron, a triangular formation often found in the western part of the country. The division among scientists has made the Bosnian pyramid one of the greatest mysteries of the 21st century. Is it the last remaining remnant of a forgotten civilization or just a monumental misunderstanding of history? We are still seeking the answer. But one thing is certain, the Bosnian pyramid has sparked curiosity, a thirst for exploration, and challenged every definition we have of humanity's past. Do you think the same way I do? If not, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. The tomb of decaying corpses in Turkey. Have you ever heard of a place so strange that it can decompose human remains in just 40 days without any human intervention or modern technology? A place where bones are reduced to little more than teeth in an unbelievably short amount of time? If not, let me take you to one of the most fascinating and mysterious discoveries of the ancient world. The Çanakkale tombs in the ancient city of Assos, Turkey, a place famously known as the rapid decomposition tomb. Prepare yourself, because the story you're about to read will make you reconsider the limits of modern science. Located in the ancient city of Assos, a well-known archaeological site along the Aegean coast, the Çanakkale tombs not only carry the mystical beauty of ancient times, but also hold a mysterious phenomenon that scientists have not been able to explain for decades. According to archaeologists, the tomb dates back at least 2,700 years, meaning it existed during ancient Greece and may have been the burial site for powerful figures in the region. However, the most fascinating part is that the human remains buried in these tombs decompose extremely quickly. Within about 40 days, the body virtually disappears, leaving only the teeth behind. This decomposition process is startling because no mummification or preservation techniques were applied. Everything happens naturally, but so quickly that it defies normal scientific explanation. Scientists have proposed several theories, with the most popular suggesting that the high levels of pure aluminum in the tomb's structure might be the cause of this bizarre phenomenon. Specifically, in the special conditions of the tomb, possibly due to temperature, humidity, or some chemical reaction, the pure aluminum may ignite or react strongly, generating high heat that causes the flesh and bones to disintegrate rapidly. However, to this day, no study has definitively proven the accuracy of this hypothesis, and the phenomenon remains a significant mystery for researchers in archaeology, science, and molecular biology. Could it be that the ancient people possessed a special method of decomposition that we cannot yet understand? Or does this place harbor an entirely different environmental factor, one never before recorded in any scientific texts? These questions have hung in the air over Assos for thousands of years, and each year, hundreds of archaeologists and scientists visit in the hope of uncovering the secret hidden beneath the earth. Yet, as you might expect, they still haven't fully unraveled the cause. So, if you're someone who loves history and is fascinated by unsolved mysteries, the Çanakkale tombs are definitely a place you must visit. And who knows, perhaps in the near future, you, or someone among us, will be the one to find the key to unlock this secret that has been sealed for over 2 millennia. The strange spiral well. When we think of a well, most of us probably imagine simple, small wells in rural areas where farmers gather water every day in a bucket to use for daily activities. However, as time has passed and society has continuously advanced, these wells have gradually become a thing of the past. People now use tap water, which is more convenient, cleaner, and far more efficient. Old wells are slowly forgotten, covered in moss with weeds growing wildly. In cities, finding a well that is still intact is a rare sight. Yet, among the thousands of wells that once existed, there is one that is so unique it has become a popular tourist attraction, drawing thousands of visitors each year. A structure that is both ancient and unbelievably unique. You would never believe that this one-of-a-kind well is located in a small village in Shandong, China, a place that was once overlooked but has now gained worldwide attention thanks to a viral photo. This extraordinary well is located in Zhangpinghua Village, Shidai City, Shandong Province. At first, you might not have heard of this place, but since the spiral well's image went viral on social media, it has become a top tourist spot in the area. Unlike ordinary wells, which are simply small, deep holes, the well in Zhangpinghua is an entire architectural marvel hidden deep underground. The well has a depth of 85 feet, but what makes it most impressive is not just its depth, but the unique spiral shape, with 108 stone steps leading to the bottom of the well. This distinctive feature evokes a sense of an adventurous journey into the earth, as if stepping into the dragon's cave from a fairy tale. The handrail of the stairs is intricately carved with winding dragon patterns, both ancient and solemn, creating an enchanting and mystical atmosphere. However, behind this magnificent beauty lies an inspiring story about human perseverance against the harsh forces of nature. In the past, this area was very water scarce, especially during drought seasons. To obtain water, people had to travel for miles, crossing hills and mountains to carry back buckets of water. Life was difficult and deprived, which motivated them to change their fate by digging a well right in the village. But this was no ordinary well. They brought in geological experts to study the area, design the structure, and eventually decided to build a spiral well that would take advantage of the terrain and the stable groundwater supply. Since the well was completed, villagers no longer had to leave the village to fetch water. They called it the Well of Happiness, not only because it provided them with precious water, but also because it symbolized the spirit of unity, creativity, and the determination to overcome adversity. Today, this well is no longer used for daily activities, but the great thing is that it has not been forgotten. Instead, the locals have turned it into a cultural symbol, a fascinating tourist destination. The stone steps and the intricately carved dragon designs have been preserved and renovated for visitors. And with just one aerial photograph shared online, the world began to take notice of this well. From being an unknown rural structure, it has transformed into a phenomenon on social media, where travelers from all over the world come to admire, take pictures, and listen to the heartfelt story behind each step. So, a well that might seem like a simple water source turns out to be a historical and cultural symbol, a testament to the resilience of human life in the face of adversity. If you ever have the chance to visit Shandong, don't forget to stop by Zhangpinghua village to descend the 108 historic steps, touch the dragon-shaped handrail, and feel the pulse of time resonating at the bottom of the Well of Happiness, where the past and present beautifully converge. The mysterious Acambaro statues. Imagine walking through a desolate land, with dust swirling in the hot winds of central Mexico. Beneath your feet, there are not rocks or sand, but thousands of strange ceramic fragments, small statues, each carrying a mystery that could overturn everything we know about the evolution of humanity. This is the incredible yet true story of the Acambaro statues, a bizarre collection of over 32,000 artifacts discovered in July 1944 in the town of Acambaro, Mexico, by a German merchant named Waldemar Julsrud. What he found not only perplexed archaeologists, but also made modern science cautious, because if these statues were verified as authentic, they could undermine the very foundation of the theory of evolution that humanity has built over the past century. So, what makes these statues so dangerous? Among the thousands of ceramic statues unearthed, many were found to resemble dinosaurs, creatures that went extinct about 65 million years ago, long before humans appeared on Earth, according to the current theory of evolution. But it doesn't stop there. There are also statues depicting humans from various ancient civilizations, such as ancient Egypt, the Sumerians, and even Caucasians, all appearing side by side, as though this was a place where an unimaginable cultural crossover took place between eras and civilizations that have no historical connection in conventional archaeological records. If these ceramic statues are indeed ancient artifacts, it would lead to a bold conclusion. Humans and dinosaurs coexisted, and human history might have started millions of years earlier than current textbooks teach. Many supporters of this hypothesis have seen this as living proof against Darwin's theory of evolution, while also supporting views on creationism or theories about forgotten prehistoric civilizations, concepts that were once considered unscientific. In response to the excitement surrounding this discovery, many scientific efforts have been made to determine the true age of the statues. Some estimates suggest they could date back to around 2500 BCE, roughly equivalent to the earliest known ancient civilizations in human history. However, even if this dating is accurate, the presence of dinosaurs in ceramic art remains an unsolvable mystery, unless the creators of these statues had actually seen these creatures with their own eyes. Yet, the story is not that simple. To this day, no reputable archaeologist or paleontologist accepts this as a legitimate discovery. They believe the entire case is a sophisticated hoax, meticulously staged to attract attention, or perhaps to create a wave of conspiracy theories. Some experts speculate that the statues were created in the 20th century, then deliberately buried to create false evidence. The problem is, no one ever witnessed the creation process, and Julsrud himself never admitted to any dishonesty. This leaves the truth suspended in the gray area between mystery and skepticism. Whether you believe in mainstream science or are drawn to unexplained mysteries, the Acambaro statues remain a phenomenon that's hard to ignore. Could these really be the remains of an ancient civilization erased by time and nature? Or is this simply a clever ploy targeting human curiosity and belief? The truth remains buried beneath the dust of time in Acambaro, waiting for a discovery strong enough to unravel the mystery that has persisted for over 80 years. What do you think? Is the truth being hidden, or is this just one of the greatest archaeological hoaxes? As for me, I'm still quite uncertain. If you know anything, feel free to share it and let's discuss it together. The mysterious village submerged beneath an ancient lake. Deep beneath the turquoise waters of Lake Ohrid, known as the Pearl of the Balkans, a village has just been discovered by scientists. This is possibly the site of the earliest known settlement in Europe, but why it is hidden within a fortress of stakes is a question researchers are trying to answer. According to archaeologists, a stretch of the Balkan lakeshore in Albania was once inhabited by people around 8,000 years ago. The village, with its stilt houses, has become the oldest village discovered in Europe. Radiocarbon dating reveals that the settlement dates back to approximately 6000 to 5800 BCE. Professor Albert Hafner, an archaeologist from the University of Bern in Switzerland, notes that this village is several centuries older than other sites along the Mediterranean coast and the Alpine region of Europe. For us, it is the oldest village in Europe. Other villages considered to be the oldest were discovered in the Alps of Italy and date back to around 5000 BCE. Professor Hafner and his research team have spent the last 4 years conducting excavations around Lake Ohrid, specifically in the mountainous border region between Albania and North Macedonia. The settlement is believed to have housed between 200 to 500 people, living in stilt houses either on the lake or in areas that were frequently flooded by rising waters. During the archaeological dig, the team uncovered some astonishing secrets. During a dive to the lake's bottom, they found evidence that the settlement was protected by thousands of flat stakes set up in a defensive fence. Professor Hafner explained, to protect themselves in this way, they must have felled an entire forest. However, why the villagers needed such a strong defense remains unclear. It's estimated that around 100,000 stakes were driven into the lakebed. Lake Ohrid is one of the oldest lakes in the world, having existed for more than 500,000 years. Thanks to skilled divers, archaeologists have been able to search the lakebed and discover many fossilized wood fragments and valuable oak wood remains. The analysis of tree rings from these wood fragments has helped the research team reconstruct the daily life of the people who lived there, offering valuable insights into the climate and environmental conditions of that time. Researchers believe that building the stilt village was a complex and difficult task, and importantly, we still don't know why they chose to construct it in that way. Initial hypotheses suggest that the people here may have relied on agriculture, growing crops, and raising livestock for food, as the team found many types of seeds, different plants, and both wild and domesticated animal bones. The 3,000-year-old war chariot. In 2011, in the village of Huang in the Henan province of China, archaeologists made one of the most important discoveries related to the ancient Zhou dynasty, a tomb dating back to around 770 BCE, which contained war chariots and horses almost perfectly preserved. This was not just an archaeological discovery, but a gateway to an entire chapter of history from the pre-Western Zhou period, where burial customs, military power, and craftsmanship blended into a magnificent legacy. Deep within the quiet earth, researchers found wooden chariots, an engineering marvel from the Bronze Age, along with horse skeletons arranged in a line, as if still awaiting orders from the long-departed general. What was especially striking was the preservation of these chariots and horses, considered the most intact ancient chariot set ever discovered in China. According to experts, these horses were killed before being buried, a solemn burial ritual of the time to accompany their owner to the afterlife, rather than being buried alive as some had previously speculated. In addition to the chariots and war horses, the tomb also revealed a range of priceless artifacts, exquisite pottery, solid metal weapons, and inscribed stone tablets showing the high status of the deceased, believed to be a general of considerable rank in the Zhou dynasty. These details led archaeologists to believe that this was the final resting place of a well-known lieutenant general from this powerful dynasty. The significance of these artifacts is not only material but also historical. They tell the story of an entire civilization, from metallurgical technology and pottery making to the art of inscription and the philosophy behind burial rituals. The tomb was constructed in a vertical burial style, a common practice during the pre-Western Zhou period. The unique natural conditions of the area, combined with the use of wooden coffins, led to the carbonization of the remains over time. Though the human body was no longer preserved, what remained, from the tomb's structure and grave goods to the symbols carved, still conveys powerful messages about beliefs, culture, and power. The most important aspect of this discovery remains the collection of chariots and horses in all their shapes and sizes, from simple two-wheeled vehicles to ceremonial or battle chariots. These were not just transportation, but symbols of power, status, and the crucial role of the military in society at that time. The complete and clear presence of these elements makes the Henan discovery not only an archaeological find, but also a time machine, allowing us to step back in time and feel the heartbeat of a flourishing empire thousands of years ago. The 650 feet Lion's Fortress. Next, let's explore an amazing sight that is sure to leave you in awe, the beautiful island of Sri Lanka, often called the Pearl of the Indian Ocean. Described as a tourist paradise, Sri Lanka is a precious gem nestled between East Asia and East Africa, known for its long coastline, smooth sandy beaches, and crystal-clear waters, all surrounded by mysterious, unspoiled forests. But Sri Lanka is not just about natural beauty. It also holds historical wonders that will astonish anyone who visits. When talking about Sri Lanka, one cannot miss Sigiriya, one of the country's most prominent wonders. Sigiriya is a massive rock, nearly 650 feet tall, uniquely shaped like a lion standing proudly between the earth and sky, which is how the name Lion's Fortress came to be. On top of this mountain once stood the palace of King Kashyapa I, and later it was used as a Buddhist monastery. To experience the beauty of Sigiriya, you must climb 1,200 narrow, steep steps carved into the rocks. However, the effort is completely worth it for the breathtaking views you'll encounter at the summit. Sigiriya is not just famous for its architectural beauty, but also contains a tragic historical story. In the 5th century, King Kashyapa I, who ruled over the Sinhalese, chose Sigiriya as his refuge and built a magnificent palace. The mountain's strategic location, difficult to approach from any direction, made it a formidable fortress, protecting the king from enemy attacks. However, no matter how strong the Lion Rock fortress was, it could not protect King Kashyapa. When his troops turned against him, the king chose to end his life by suicide rather than be captured. Sigiriya then became the royal capital and eventually fell into ruin, swallowed by the jungle by the 14th century. Sigiriya was not forgotten. So though, in the 19th century, this wonder began to be rediscovered, and through numerous excavations, scientists uncovered a highly sophisticated infrastructure surrounding Sigiriya. Around the fortress, there were 150 villages and 200 massive water tanks, along with an intricately designed water supply and drainage system. The beautifully symmetrical gardens and functioning fountains still operate to this day, even after more than 16 centuries. Sigiriya also hides invaluable cultural relics. One of the most famous features is the western wall of Lion Rock, once covered by approximately 500 frescoes depicting the landscape and life of that era. Though time has damaged most of the paintings, some still remain today, creating a mysterious and captivating atmosphere. On the opposite side of the wall are around 1,800 sections of prose, poetry, and heartfelt inscriptions from those who once visited, written in various languages like Sinhala, Sanskrit, and Tamil. However, since 1967, due to significant vandalism, the site has officially banned visitors from taking photos or touching the artifacts to preserve its original beauty. As you can see, Sigiriya, with its historical and cultural value, is not only a famous tourist destination in Sri Lanka, but also a precious treasure that we must preserve and cherish. This is a place that holds the stories and memories of a once flourishing and mighty civilization. If you ever visit Sri Lanka, don't miss the opportunity to marvel at this wonder and experience the miracles of history and culture that Sigiriya offers. The 3,400-year-old ancient city. You may have heard stories about the mysterious Egyptian pharaohs, the Great Pyramids, or the Golden Tomb of Tutankhamun. But did you know that a 300-400-year-old ancient city, once buried by time and thought to have been lost forever, has recently been uncovered beneath the sands of the desert in Luxor, Egypt? This is not just an ordinary archaeological discovery. It is considered the most significant find since the tomb of the young pharaoh Tutankhamun was opened nearly a century ago. It all began in September 2020, when the renowned Egyptologist Zahi Hawass and his team started excavations with the goal of locating the mortuary temple of King Tutankhamun. No one expected that, just a few weeks into their work, ancient mud brick walls would begin to emerge from the earth, revealing a large, well-preserved structure that had withstood millennia. What they uncovered was not just a few scattered relics, but an entire ancient city, with walls, rooms, treasure, and traces of a brilliant civilization that once thrived in the heart of the desert. The city consists of 3 main areas, each bearing the hallmark of a once powerful empire. In one area, identified as a storage district, archaeologists found a range of artifacts such as sandals, sewing tools, and especially precious stones that were used to craft necklaces and bracelets, indicating that this was once a thriving industrial and artisan center. Moreover, colorful pottery discovered here has revealed a strong connection to the New Kingdom period, one of the most glorious eras in ancient Egyptian history. According to historical records, this city was home to 3 palaces of Pharaoh Amenhotep III, the 9th king of the 18th dynasty, known for his prosperous and powerful reign. The city was not only the residence of the royal family, but also a vital administrative and industrial hub that contributed to the grandeur of ancient Egypt. What was discovered here is not only of archaeological value, but also provides a window into the everyday life of ancient Egyptians. From rings, scarab jewelry, to kitchen tools and brightly colored pottery, all seemingly frozen in time, waiting to be revealed. What astonished archaeologists and the international community was the level of preservation of this city. The mud brick walls, a material known to erode easily, have stood firm for over 3 millennia, and many rooms inside still retain their original structure. This allows researchers not only to reconstruct life as it once was, but also to gain a deeper understanding of the social structure, technology, and culture of one of the greatest civilizations in human history. This discovery is not just a breakthrough in archaeology, but also a powerful reminder of what still lies beneath the thick sands of Egypt. Every brick, every shard of pottery, every artifact found here tells the story of the people, their lives, and the unsolved mysteries of ancient times. With this newly uncovered ancient city, the journey to explore the mysteries of Egypt enters a new, exciting chapter. What do you think? How is it possible that a 3,400-year-old city could remain almost completely intact to this day? The Koneswaram Temple, a 1,000-year-old shrine. Trincomalee is a port city located on the northeastern coast of Sri Lanka. It is one of the main cultural centers for the Tamil community on the island and boasts pristine, beautiful coastal waters, making it an ideal place to experience surfing, diving, fishing, and whale watching. The waters surrounding Trincomalee are home to a high density of blue whales and sperm whales, while the nearby coastal forests are inhabited by wild elephant herds. When visiting Trincomalee, one cannot miss the Koneswaram Temple, an important historical and cultural monument of Sri Lanka. The temple holds great religious significance, being dedicated to the worship of Lord Shiva in Hindu culture. It is also regarded as one of the most important archaeological sites in Sri Lanka. The temple's architecture is based on Southeast Asian designs, particularly the traditional Dravidian style, which includes a 1,000-pillar hall. The temple sits in a stunning location, offering a full view of the Trincomalee Bay and the Indian Ocean. The Koneswaram Temple is adorned with magnificent sculptures carved into a massive granite rock. During the colonial period, the temple was heavily damaged and destroyed, but in recent decades, the government and the people of Sri Lanka have worked to restore and preserve it as a major national cultural heritage site. Visitors to the temple must dress modestly, remove their shoes, and walk barefoot, or may wear socks. Photography and video recording inside the sanctuaries are strictly prohibited. The Koneswaram Temple is considered a sacred place by the locals, particularly for couples wishing to conceive. Couples hoping for a child often come here, hang a symbolic cradle, and pray earnestly. According to local belief, hanging a wooden cradle symbolizes the desire for another child, adding a new member to the family. Even after having a healthy child, families returned to the temple to perform rituals of thanksgiving. The construction timeline of the Koneswaram Temple has been estimated by comparing carvings on the temple's ruins. Documents about the temple and inscriptions, commonly found in royal charters from the 5th to the 18th centuries, help researchers date it. However, the exact founding date remains uncertain. The oldest cemetery in the world in Africa? Can you believe that deep within the earth, in a dark and treacherous cave system in South Africa, where sunlight has never reached, scientists have made a discovery that could completely change our understanding of human evolution? A groundbreaking find, the oldest human graves in the world, has just been uncovered in the cradle of humankind, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, located about 25 miles from Johannesburg. But what has stunned the scientific community is not just the age of these graves, but the identity of the individuals buried beneath the rocks. An ancient human species with a brain size only 1/3 the size of ours, Homo naledi. Homo naledi, a name that may sound unfamiliar but is gaining recognition in the field of archaeology, was first discovered in 2015 by a research team led by American paleoanthropologist Lee Berger. This species is known for its climbing ability, small stature, and was once considered underdeveloped, lacking abstract thinking or complex social behaviors. However, recent discoveries have overturned those assumptions. At a depth of about 100 feet underground, the research team found human bones in shallow pits, which were likely deliberately dug, and around them were stone walls with abstract carvings, reminiscent of symbolic behaviors seen only in modern humans and Neanderthals. If this is true, and evidence increasingly supports this hypothesis, then Homo naledi was performing burial rituals as far back as 335,000 to 241,000 years ago. The astonishing part is that Homo sapiens, modern humans, only began purposeful burial practices at least 100,000 years later. This means that an ancient human species with a brain only 1/3 the size of ours had a profound understanding of life and death, enough to organize funerals, bury their dead, and even leave symbols that could represent primitive forms of language, something we once thought was exclusive to modern humans. Not only that, but scientists have also refuted the hypothesis that the bones were deposited by water or by modern humans. Subsequent surveys in 2017 clearly showed that these shallow pits were intentionally dug, and the material filling the pits was distinctly different from the surrounding earth, similar to a conscious burial site rather than a natural formation. The abstract symbols carved into nearby rocks seem to be the earliest traces of symbolic communication, potentially a precursor to writing or religion. This discovery has strongly challenged the long-standing belief that burial practices, funerary rituals, and symbolic behaviors were unique to Neanderthals or Homo sapiens. It forces us to reconsider the entire evolutionary history of humanity, perhaps the ability to think deeply, to love, to mourn the dead, and to leave symbolic marks was not just our privilege, but an evolutionary gift once shared by our ancient relatives, Homo naledi. So, how much do we truly know about our own past? It's hard to answer, but perhaps one day we will be able to truly decode it all. 30,000-year-old skeletons reveal when ancient humans went through puberty. You might be surprised to learn that teenagers from the Ice Age, from 10,000 to 30,000 years ago, actually went through puberty in a similar way to how we do today. That's right. According to the latest research by international archaeologists, these ancient teenagers not only started puberty at almost the same age as modern teens, but they also underwent very similar physical changes to today's adolescents. So what happened over tens of thousands of years that kept the human maturation process so remarkably stable? An international research team analyzed the skeletons of 13 ancient teenagers found at 7 archaeological sites scattered across Europe, from warm Italy to the colder regions of Russia and the Czech Republic. By thoroughly studying the bone features, they were able to determine that these individuals went through puberty between the ages of 13 and 16, very close to the average puberty age of modern hunter-gatherer groups, which is between 12.5 and 14 years old. This discovery astonished scientists as it proves that the timing of puberty in Homo sapiens, even during the harsh ancient times, hasn't changed much from today. In fact, these Ice Age teens may have experienced a longer adolescence. They reached physical maturity between the ages of 16 and 21, which is longer than modern Western teenagers, who are typically considered to have matured between the ages of 16 and 18. This could reflect the fact that ancient life was full of hardships, causing the body to adapt and develop more slowly to survive in such a harsh environment. This doesn't even take into account the lack of nutrition, survival pressures, and the challenges that ancient teens faced daily, from hunting and avoiding wild animals to surviving the cold winter months. The most interesting conclusion came from Mary Lewis, a bioarchaeologist at the University of Reading in the UK, who suggested that the average age of puberty at 13.5 could be the genetic blueprint of humanity, serving as a sustainable biological milestone throughout evolutionary history. This theory was further supported by archaeologist April Nowell, who emphasized that the notion of modern teens going through puberty earlier is inaccurate. In reality, the pattern of adolescent development has remained remarkably consistent for millennia. So why is studying the puberty age of prehistoric teens so important? Because it helps archaeologists better understand how humans developed in the past, both biologically and culturally. Puberty isn't just a physical transition. It carries deep social meaning. Do adolescents become regarded as adults within the community? Are they given decision-making power, allowed to participate in hunting, or involved in coming-of-age rituals? Through these seemingly lifeless skeletal remains, scientists are telling the stories of teenagers who lived, loved, feared, and grew up, just like we do today. It's a fascinating journey that connects the present with the distant past, piecing together the vibrant history of humanity. Dear friends, it is difficult to fully explain the mysteries left by the ancients. Could it be that all of this is evidence supporting the theory of our ancestors' evolution? What do you think about this? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss out on other fascinating discoveries. For now, goodbye and see you again soon.